All right. All right. So we're back, guys. Hopefully we can get a bunch of you guys back on. I'm so sorry. Yeah, this has never happened before. And you guys know that. You're here every night. So this was on for a few. Click this new link. Trying to get Joseph back on. Okay, here it says devices not connected. Okay, let's see here. All right, there he is. Okay. We got you. Bro, I got bad news.
What's that? And I'm back. What's that?
Well, it was just fine before you joined, and now I hear it again. Okay, is your phone next to a laptop or any other like thing that might have some kind
Should
of?
I try headphones?
Yeah, let's try that. Let's try that.
Okay, hold on one second.
Okay. Headphones 100%.
We have the technology, folks. Just give me a second here. Please stand by.
No worries.
Nothing. Okay. Can you hear me?
I can actually, and you're louder, which I think is good.
Wait, is there no more static?
I don't think there is more static.
Yeah, let's go.
I think we seem good, right?
I think it's on like Tron or Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I don't want to curse it.
I feel,
but
no, let's not curse it.
Yeah, I think it's great. Okay, great.
It feels better to me. You're warm and in my subconscious right now, but that's how it feels.
Great. And so
all right, I'm good. We're back.
We've got 34 people of 70 that were on, so half of them have rejoined so far, which is great. All right, man. Okay, now I feel like we can have a chat. So tell me about. Let's talk about this this Jeter card. Oh, now he's frozen.
Sorry, man. I missed that whole thing. You just totally disappeared. I think there's a strange signal. Back now, but you're frozen.
Yeah, no, you were frozen too for me. Man, the universe is really testing us. It's we got to earn it. We got to earn this conversation. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, guys. We're gonna work it out. Oh my God. Now you're frozen. Oh, he's gone. Oh, now he's gone. Oh man. What's up, guys? Oh my gosh. This is great, guys. This will be a memorable episode for one reason or another. Yeah, it sucks because Joseph and I have been talking for a long time over text and Instagram, and we vibe really well. We had a phone conversation for like an hour one day, just talking about art and life and perspective, and that went really good. And I've been looking forward to this interview for a really long time. He's texting me back. Hold on.
I gotta give Tim credit for JK Frozen, which is a huge hit on the chat. That's
nice.
Very funny.
Nice.
Also, we are going to ask Joseph your questions. We've got some really great questions. Once he's back in the chat, we will ask those questions. So appreciate everyone very much. Blake is working.
Texting with him.
Yeah, texting, trying to reconnect right now. So appreciate everyone very much. Hope everyone was enjoying the Yankees game until the rain hit.
Yeah. Is that the one that got rain delayed?
Yeah, that's rain delayed. So now
is it going to play at all?
I mean, it was raining really hard, so I don't know if they're going to restart that game. I think it was in the 5th or 6th.
Nice.
And now it's the obviously the Dodgers Giants going on right now. But we're going to have Joseph rejoin right now. So stick with us. Appreciate everybody for staying tuned, and I hope everyone enjoyed that Giancarlo homer. That was epic off Scherzer. What was that, like 460 feet? I mean, it was like one of the 459, I think. It was like one of the longest home runs in a long time. So that was pretty sweet.
Yeah,
Top 6.
At least it's definitely the longest in at least like 2 or 3 months.
Yeah. At least 2 or 3 months.
At least 2
or 3 months.
Yeah.
All right.
We're trying to get him back. All right. Oh, there we go. Okay, he's back. He's back.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. He's back.
Sorry about this, y'all.
Don't worry about it, man.
All good.
It's a fun story.
Yeah.
It is. It's this story.
Yeah.
Happening live as we speak.
That's right.
All right, man. The headphones sound much better for me. I was just saying you sounded a lot warmer, like a good analog recording or something, and you're now in my subconscious.
Nice.
But here we go again. Thank you for your patience, y'all. Sorry about that shit.
All good, man. Yeah, so talk to us about the Jeter card, man. And all of your work, like it's just so phenomenal. Like just the line work is amazing, and I love how it's so different and distinct, and like you see work and you know it's yours. And I think that's like a really important thing for an artist, but like you do it in times 1,000. And so what's that process like?
I just got chills, man. Well, let me first say thank you for such insightful, kind words. I really appreciate that, man.
Of course.
I have so much respect for your work as well. I look forward to really absorbing and studying and getting to know it a lot more.
Thanks, man.
I've been drawing since the womb, since I've been able to hold and implement, and I've never really stopped. I just turned 50. I started tattooing in September of 94.
Okay.
You draw for thousands and thousands and thousands of hours. And I was always filling sketchbooks and just really nurturing and cultivating my manual sensibilities and my skill set as a draftsman and a really passionate drawer, and being unique and distinct and immediately recognizable stylistically, conceptually, spiritually, the communication, the intent, it's all really important to me. It's all it's where all my energy is gone. It's where all my focus is gone. And I think after all this time, there's just been this coalescence of what's conceptual, what's technical, what's symbolic, what's metaphorical. I can sort of adjust and adhere, and I've been developing such a range of styles and aesthetic approaches and visual languages and sort of ethos and philosophies and the way I systemize and how I really generate content is in essence reactive and
don't freeze on us again, buddy. I hope we can pull through.
Me too. We got some really good questions.
What if let's see, well, I guess it's not our Wi-Fi either. No.
Yes, he's back. Yes.
Yo, I was in the middle of a thought trying to be really articulate, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta move closer. Like I actually physically have to move closer to my router because I have a really bad connection right now. So I was saying that my approach in essence, and it applies directly to what's so cumulative about this project and what it really I don't know, there's just such an assimilatory, synthesized thing that happened with this sweet spot of a project. But ultimately, just to share with y'all and the audience and to sort of phrase it this way, it's just about play and reaction and association and language and wordplay and what's verbal, what's written, what's textual, and what's subjective, and what's an image, and what, you know, what's iconographic. It all just sort of dissolved and exploded and imploded and kind of rebirthed itself somewhere along the way after tattooing for 25 years and drawing at a feverish pace and being such a fucking nerd for keeping your game tight. And by game, I mean, you know, your brain, your heart, your hand, those things have to align. And all you can do is work.
Right.
Work is everything, you know, like Khalil Gibran, his book, The Prophet, which I'll cite. It's one of my favorite books. It's a really great quote that I used in my first published book in '99. And the quote is, "Work is love made visible." And that's hopefully that love and everything I'm trying to articulate is really the life of the work itself. There's no separation between, I mean, I aspire to have there be no separation between my mind's eye, my point of view, my intent, and then, you know, you just have to spend a lifetime so you can execute what you really want to see, because no one else is going to, that's not going to manifest in the world in any form unless for me, it's just really ethical. It comes down to just how responsible we are as human beings and as artists to, you know, to keep it really dope and have the heart be in the right place and to tell the story that you want to tell in a clear way. But, you know, I'm hoping that these cards are really fun. They're visual mazes. There's tons of Easter eggs. There's so much conscious encrypted information for the viewer. Yeah. And
Okay. So speaking of encrypted information, Ryan Hack, aka Living One-Handed, asks, can you ask him how he deciphered the language he writes in? It's such an incredible art form. So I feel like there's a lot of there's so much depth to the card, and we'll use Jeter as a great example because it's an awesome card. But I get what you're saying where honestly, across the top, I'm like, that must say something awesome, but I don't know what it says. I don't know what it says.
Well, here's the big reveal.
Jeter at the bottom, which you worked in the JK5 into it, which I thought was so clever. But
thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, what's cohesive about my approach to all the Topps cards is I'm trying to render the card and really honor the graphic design and the layout and all the elements while laying or creating this overlay, this dimension of this imaginative sci-fi mythology, superhero inspired idea that really elevates the athletes to this level of being a god or a demigod and sort of telling that story in a way. But typefaces and letter forms and graffiti typography, just distinct hand styles has been a big part of my work for a long time. And I love any information that I can translate in real time and just sort of reiterate it in a way that tells my story and it modifies what you're seeing. It really shifts things. It creates a schism. So on the Jeter card, y'all, it said the 1992 draft pick. Nice. And because my concept went in a super nerdy fantasy D&D loving, medieval Game of Thrones Tolkien direction, I wrote Tolkien, the 1392 draft pick. So it says 1392 draft pick. Yeah. So wordplay is just my way of bugging out and having a lot of fun, and I hope that comes across. And then, you know, with the words I'm playing with, I can sort of respell and poeticize and add a literary dimension that really comes from my own intent. And, you know, you have that power. So, so cool. That's important to me. Thank you, man.
Yeah, I love it, man. And I definitely was getting Tolkien vibes on that one.
There's Tolkien Elvis script. That's that font on the Jeter card is something I've been exploring for maybe 15 years that really kind of blends the Tibetan Sanskrit, the Chicano, East LA, decorative ornamental script that I got really known for as a tattooer and was taught by some of the best going back 30 years into that culture. And then I just talk about the nerd out, man. I just wove in Tolkien Elvish and really studied those alphabets. And essentially, I'm just recreating the English alphabet. Sometimes I'll work in other languages. I'm working on learning a few languages so I can actually take what I do with writing into other actual cultural languages of the world. But English is enough because I'm recreating these encoded parallel alphabets. So they're all based on, English, the English alphabet visual structure, and then I'm just fontifying whatever I feel like fontifying, if you will. Mm-hmm. And there can be a potential fontification of anything. Of course. That when you're given logos and logo type and mascots, and just think of the MLB, think of just sports and languages in general. That's really, there's so much fodder there for me. And I'm looking at your A's hat, and that's Old English. There's a million things I could do with that. You know what I mean?
Totally. That's awesome, man. Fontifying it. I love it.
Fontification, y'all.
Fontification. Yeah, that's that's rad, man. I love that. And I see and cool because you've got like that, and then you look back at like the Trout card. Mm-hmm. I saw like Marvel, right? That he's got kind of the Cyclops thing going on, and so
I love Cyclops. He was my favorite X-Man.
Totally, and I love that you're like blending those worlds, and it's so fun to see, man. And it's also interesting for me.
Thank you, Blake.
Is seeing as and it's fun like with not just your work, but definitely including your work. But as different artists, as all the artists progress through this set, I don't know if every artist is a little different. I just did card number 9 as my Ichiro right now. My card number 9.
Really beautiful, by the way. I want to talk about how you blended the American and the Japanese flag. That was very subtle and really sweet, really smart.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it was a fun one, and even I can see in my own work. I think that the even just seeing the evolution within the artist's practice of what they're producing and putting out as their tops cards from card number 1 to card number 9, I can see evolution in every single person's work.
Yes, for sure.
All of them. And I really love to see that. And one thing that's really stood out to me in your evolution is I feel like we're starting to see more and more color. So yes. I remember, I think and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know exactly the timeline of which cards were when, but I think the first few were just black and white. And then
the first 3 were black and white.
Ichiro, you put the red dot, which I can
exactly,
and I can appreciate that. And I was like, oh, okay, I see. And then you start adding in more color. We had the laser beam Cyclops eyes from Trout. Now with Jeter, we're getting more color across the board. So it's so cool, man, to see that. And is that something that was intentional or planned ahead, or you're just kind of running with it, or I don't know. I'm just curious about the evolution of color in the work, because I think that it's been really fun to watch, and it makes it exciting to see your next card, because I'm like, oh man, how's he gonna, what's it gonna be like? Which is great.
Yeah. Word. Well, thank you for saying that, man. I want to just speak to what you said about how all the artists' cards and styles are evolving, and whether they're aware of it or not, it's really moving to see the cross-pollination and elements changing. Right. Clearly affected and inspired by, even in a subconscious, really organic way, the other artists' work. 100%. There's this organism that's really about interconnectivity and all these configurative dynamics within the 20 of us. There's all kinds of communication flying around. Mm-hmm. Most of it's invisible. Most of it's unspoken. Mm-hmm. You can feel it. You can see it. There's camaraderie. There's support. I'm meeting some wonderful people. The only other person I know in the project, incidentally, is Kimu Meyer, Grotesquito. He's a brilliant artist and designer, and he and I go back to the A-Life days in 2003.
Yeah.
But so I wanted to speak
his card is out with you. You're paired with him today.
Oh, I was stoked to be paired with him, man. Yeah.
Cool. It's so cool. And okay, we talk about evolution, and I don't know, I guess I could go back
and then I'll get into the color conversation, but I just really wanted to speak to that. No, go, man, go.
Oh, I was just saying that even in that work where he's doing this very geometric kind of these framing and just creating beautiful, cohesive set. Today I look at his Ted Williams that's out with your Jeter, and I see that it's a guy, it's 2 people, and they're
they're figurative. Yeah.
Right. They're figurative. And I saw it's got the red sock, and it's got like, the arms and they're kind of reaching around. Like, I didn't see that before in the work, and maybe that's just because I wasn't looking hard enough, but I see it and I'm like, that's evolution. He's taking these geometric shapes and now all of a sudden it's people, and like, where's he going to take it next?
No, exactly. And to speak to Kimu and about Kimu, I've been aware of his work for a really long time when he was at Zoo York, just doing graphics and designs and illustrations. Right. And he got really good at the computer, and he got really into primitivism. He got really into African art, and really into sculpture, and really into 3D shit. And you started to see his own sort of primordial forming of a style that came from design, geometry, figuration, abstract art. And a lot of us, not to go off on this tangent, but we've all been on a really deconstructing trip of our own visual languages and aesthetic arsenals, if you will, for a long time. And to see, it's really rad to see Kimu get figurative, get abstract, and then start building animals and figures out of this this geometry and the sort of essence base of form. And and it's so dope because I feel like, I mean, there's 20 finished works, right? And that's an opportunity for all of us to create a really cohesive, uniform, beautiful, distinct body of work. You can put whatever energy you want into it. And, we know how generative and kind of successful it's been. And that's just gravy. That's a wonderful thing, that we're able to just do what we do best and do what we love. And we've all had this really interesting success in the context of all this loss and pain and grief. So I feel like there's so many different energetic and personal, again, configurative dynamic forces at play that I think is giving everything about this project power and light and really distinctive, memorable qualities. And man, I mean, if your work's not evolving over the course of 20, even if you have a really distinct style that's cohesive and there's something really consistent about it, which is inspiring to me, because I'm often like going off on the rails and having to rein myself in, you know what I mean? That's just sort of how I cast my nets, if you will, or I shoot my own laser eyes and then I burn myself and I got to put on the Neosporin and like, it's I don't know. I think it's awesome just to, it's a really unique duration of a project. So it's cool for you and I to really give language to all the ways that it's evolving and how everyone's evolution is affecting everybody else's. It's like this it's like this really liquid thing. Like we're all at a party and we're all getting on the mic every couple of days, and you can wax poetic with metaphors all day, but people are doing their best work, and it's so it's a gift to have this structure and this opportunity, and again, this kind of connectivity during this time. It's a really weird time, but so back to the color thing. I can't say that it's completely strategic and foresightful, but I knew that I wanted every aspect of my process and these cards over the course of 20 to really evolve, as if there's a story happening inherently in each one, and I'm learning as I go, and then I'm infusing that information in the next one. So you can really just feel this sort of life force going through them. And hopefully with 10 left, they're just going to get wilder and more interesting. Jeter was it happened so fast, man. It was a flash of lightning. As I've said in my videos, and I shared this with you when we were vibing and texting initially, which I loved and, brought us here tonight. The first thing I saw was the body position and the athletic pose of an archer. I'm like, there's endless metaphor, and I just have to work really hard to execute this idea, right? Because there's ideating, which I think is so vital as a creator. You're taking notes of 100 different ideas, maybe 10 get pushed through, and then you just put all your energy into executing it. And I think it's really hard, but you're just constantly aspiring to the synthesis of really good idea and the proper execution.
Yeah.
You know, because good ideas just don't have any skeletal structure or the right anatomy to support itself unless it's executed in a really clear way. And I worked really fucking hard to get that archery position right.
I believe it, man. I believe it. It shows, man. It's just
cool.
It's just gorgeous. And it's, like I said, man, I think that like one of the most special things about your art, I think, is that it's just so distinct. And it doesn't matter. It's not going to take an art collector or an art fan to look at something and know that it's your work. Anybody can tell that it's your work. And I think that that's such a strong position to be in as an artist, and a great kind of space to carve out for yourself if you own that style. And even within that style that you own, you're still able to evolve and, you know, kind of play and try new things and push boundaries. I think
you have to be bored with where you're at. That's the only way to push forward and to let new light in. It's like how our memory systems work. You have to dump some shit before you can absorb more. Yeah. It's biological, it's spiritual, it's chemical. I really think that, you know, artistic systems and that kind of level of consciousness, if you're committed to it for so long, and that's your life's path, all those parallels are very real. You have to just, I don't know, man, you just have to keep playing and trying shit out. I mean, if you're not, you know, kind of playfully exploring, I don't know. That's just my philosophy. That works for me. I hope it inspires others, you know.
It's amazing, man. And I just pulled up your, I've got your kind of card history on tops. So I'm looking at like,
oh, cool.
Like I love the Clemente. You got like the Boba Fett kind of style mask, and you went like Star Wars kind of inspired on that. And, you know, it's just so cool to see, man. It's wild, man. And also like, man, the colors on the Bob Gibson just are gorgeous. You got
that color was symbolic of this moment in history. I chose to do that one full color because of how passionate I am about equality and justice and human rights. And these protests have been taking place 500 feet from my doorstep for the last month and a half. Yeah. And, you know, personally, I've been beat up by the cops. I know plenty of people that have been. I think it's a really pivotal time in our collective human history. Yep. And if I'm working on a project and I can make something full color and I can humanize him by saying he's the son of Pac and Victoria Gibson and do a little research and honor him and thinking about what his life must have been like as a Major League Baseball player in the 50s, man. For me, color was just to really humanize him. And I thought it was a really good point in the timeline of the project to go full color, you know, and then that hot pink, you know, like the style of the card and the palette of the card. I was like, oh, I really love this palette and I can take this to a level that again is more about the humanity of the player and you know, using that much color symbolically. Yeah. But incidentally, I did the Jeter card a month before Gibson.
Yeah, well, I know that. Yeah, because I remember when we were talking before, when we talked in text on the phone, like I was getting to see it kind of and you were like, man, I came up with it and knocked this, like, check it out. I think it was when you would kind of first. You're
the first person I showed, for real.
Yeah.
You were the first person I showed.
That's amazing.
I just showed you the pencil sketch, I believe. It was just at the timing, just the line. I'm like, oh, this guy's so nice. I really vibe. I'm just going to share this with him. Yeah. Because the only other person I've been in touch with from the project directly, aside from like nice, supportive, complimentary language that's fleeting and intermittent and, you know, in and out of the DM group and Facebook and stuff, is you and FDOT. So, so yeah, man, you saw that firsthand.
And I mean, I love it from the jump, and I love the direction that you took it, and you know where it's at now. And by the way, everyone, if you don't already know, you should. But it's available on Topps.com until what do we have? It just launched today, so you have
one more day, 24 more hours.
Yeah, until Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, you have like 36 hours.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Yeah,
the beatbox chimes in.
Yeah, exactly. So link down below.
Nice.
Link it down below the video. Definitely pick that up. Also, my Ichiro card is on there right now. I know all you guys we talked about it last night.
Ichiro, get the Jeter.
Yeah, I love everything that's up right now. I think Like you said, man,
too.
the artists are like, being inspired and kind of motivated, I think, by each other, whether it happens. Oh yeah, he's got the Jeter ball.
Yeah.
Oh snap! Number 2.
That's from his
Absolutely.
PC.
That's from my PC.
Yeah, that's his.
So everybody buy JK5's Jeter. It's amazing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I only
Represent.
here because we've got a ton of awesome questions.
Okay.
I'd love to throw in.
Oh yeah.
Interrupt this amazing conversation because it is truly riveting. I'm not being sarcastic. It's awesome. But we do have
Good word, riveting. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I like your New York jersey. I like your away game New York jersey.
Absolutely. My guy, Glaber.
Nice.
Oh shit. Nice. Yeah, I'm down for some questions, man.
Great.
I'm here.
Okay,
Do
cool.
you want me to feed them to you, or what's the best way to do this? Do you want me to just leave this
Yeah,
here?
just leave it here for a minute.
Okay, sure.
Is that cool?
That's cool.
Okay, great.
All right. Just read out the name.
You guys are quite the vaudeville team. I love it.
I know. We tried. We
You
tried.
guys have such a good duo vibe going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, man. I'm so lucky. I have an amazing team and support kind of community, both online and also like physically in the studio. I've really met some amazing people, and it was all through this project, and it was all through Twitter, which is wild. But like,
Amazing.
really, like he hit me up and he's like, "Hey, I saw you that you need help with shipping. I live in Astoria. You're in Long Island City. I can come down. Like, let me see what I can do." And it's amazing, man. It's really cool.
That rules. Hey,
natural.
incidentally, we will talk about this in private, but I really hope we can hang and get together and have some drinks and peep your studio when it's safe and wise. And I think very naturally and organically, let's figure out ways we can really join forces together and work together in whatever capacity, or share our networks, expose our fan bases to one another. I think you have an amazing identity and body of work and career going yourself, and it's super inspiring, man. And I'd love to kick it further.
For sure. And I don't know if you still are actively doing tattoos, but I literally have some in mind, and I don't have a go-to guy yet in New York. And
That's one of our questions.
it is okay. One of the questions.
Oh no,
you're actively tattooed still. But
well, the short answer is, after 25 years, 1/4 of a century of my life dedicated to tattooing, which has been an amazing platform and vehicle and vocation for me. That was a heat seeker for a world of other relationships and opportunities. Going back to 94 when I started, I graduated RISD in 94, and I started tattooing that September. But I'm happy to say I am moving on from tattooing to focus on my own world of work and it manifesting in all these different forms. But if I ever do go back, I would love to tattoo you, man.
For me.
Well, of course.
Even if you know someone, like I just don't.
I've got homies that are the best in the world, all over the world, depending on your style, the subject matter, the genre that you're interested in. I'll definitely hook you up.
Yeah. Speaking of just randomly tattoos, I'm seeing it. This is my latest one. I got this during Art Basel. I did my first Art Basel in Miami. This says Maktub in Arabic, which means it is written. It's from my favorite book of all time, The Alchemist. And I got to tell you, I mean, I have some, I've got actually, surprisingly, I have a few tattoos, that people can see, but most of them people can't. I've got a lot like on my chest, across my ribs, all across my back. I'm pretty tatted up.
Is that the Basquiat crown on your hand?
It is.
Specifically?
Yeah, it is.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dope. The Radiant Child. We love it.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. I have that book in my studio as kind of inspiration.
I have a number of his books, man. He's a huge inspiration. And now my son, who's 8, loves Basquiat so much.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's right. Yeah.
So anyways, what I was saying, so this is my last one. It's fading for sure. It's not the best.
It's not cool.
Cool. But
Arabic's a
I
beautiful
don't care. It's
language.
special, and it was like, it's very on a whim, and it was such a special week and weekend for me at Art Basel. But like, this hurt so bad. I don't know.
Oh, dude, you don't have to tell me. Fingers will make you cry.
I just don't know if like, was it like, you didn't have the needle settings right, or is that just a really sensitive spot? Because
it's a phenomenally.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry, man. I just lost you for a second, so I didn't mean to be rude and interject prematurely. Fingers are notoriously brutally painful. I've been driven to tears. You break an instant sweat.
Yep.
You're shaking. There's so many nerves in your fingers and toes. My girl has La Revenante, on the inside of her finger. She's got some really raw, poetic, cool, sentimental, scattered tattoos, and I'm just covered in like one big unfinished sketchbook of a bodysuit with 500 hours of work from 50 artists from all over the world going back to 91. But fingers are brutal, man. They really hurt, but you earn them, and then you have that really great quote there or mantra or whatever it is to you. But you earn a finger. A finger's a motherfucker.
It really did. And it was quick too. This was like a 15-minute tattoo. And damn, by the end of it, I was like ready to be like, all right, need breaks. Like I was asking for water, feeling lightheaded.
Dude, you don't want it to be any longer than that. It's a really ugly kind of pain on the finger too. You could describe it as kind of gross, and you just really want to get it over with. Yeah. It's dope though. It's cool.
Well, I'm glad that I wasn't, because I'd gotten, I had my first tattoo I got with my sister Tess, who I think she was on the live stream earlier. She tunes in a lot. But we have our family across, on the inside side of our ribs. And, they knew. They were like, oh, this is your first tattoo. Are you sure you want it there? Like ribs hurt. And we're like, no, it's fine. We did it. And it wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible. And I have another one, like I said, stay focused across my chest, but it's written backwards. So I see it in the mirror. And the F is like
good words. I like that.
Yeah, it's cool. So the F is like, it's right on my sternum, and doing this like big cursive S on my sternum, like I kind of felt like my whole chest cavity was like, vibrating. I was like, oh man, I'm going to like, I don't know, it was crazy. And so like I had that one, like, oh, okay, that one, but still like, it wasn't painful. It was just like a really weird sensation. And then man, this finger one, I was like, I thought I was going to pass out. And it was so crazy. So I'm glad that I'm not the only one that. Yeah.
No, a finger will get you, man. Absolutely. Yeah. Fingers are brutal. Rib cage is sort of like considered painful and really challenging to sit for, but fingers are gnarly. Gnarls in charge. Bob Gnarly, no fun.
Says stomach hurts more for him. He got head, hand, finger, leg, arm, neck. That's pretty much everything. Yeah, I haven't done a stomach one, but yeah,
everyone has different associations and ways of perceiving pain, man.
It's so crazy. Okay, so we'll do some of these. Okay, Daryl Eber asks, "What is your favorite card so far?" And I'm not sure if he means of your own cards or of all cards, so we'll do both.
Okay, my favorite card of mine, I'm gonna say Jeter, because I feel like it's a really well-rounded, encompassing concept that I executed, and that's a direction I'm aspiring to go in.
Great.
I really like my Mariano card because of my love of the Boogie Down Bronx and graffiti history, and I was raised just 20 minutes north of Manhattan, and I grew up going to like 13 to 15 Yankee games a year. My pops was friends with a lot of the old timers. He played AAA ball in 1958. So that was really nostalgic and autobiographical for me. And I kind of really went off on that card. Totally. Plus I really liked the challenge of how bland and 90s, and dude is just rocking chinos after a shower, leaning against the column with a golf shirt. Like there was so much negative space and so much open actual wall space to bomb and to tag in my distinct ways. And I really love those two cards. I have to say, I think your Ichiro is really dope. I love that subtle move with the flag synthesis. And I mean that sincerely. I'm not just giving you a shout out because I'm on your show.
I appreciate that.
That's a question that's I don't know how diplomatic I could be, and I don't know how concise I can be. I don't know if I can contain it to just my favorite and what else anyone else has done. I'm a big Kimo Meyer fan, man. His stuff is so edited. It's so clean. It's so cohesive.
Totally.
And I just think his style's really dope. And I think what's really fresh, what's really how do I put it? I don't know. For me, each project, each body of work, each concept is an opportunity. And I personally find that I'm responsible to invent a style that fits the tone, that marries how I personally feel about the subject matter,
Yep.
aspiring to what's universal and timeless, and both,
Yep.
you know, in what intimate communication, like it's me and you one-on-one, and then there's a million fans,
Right.
hypothetically, at once, and it's going to stand the test of time, and it's going to feel relevant and important.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm going off on some tangents, but
It's okay,
I
man.
think it all pertains, right? In one way or
There's no
another.
rules.
Yeah, I know. There's no rules. Exactly.
No rules,
Conversation
no
flows. It's always moving. Always moving.
I love that.
Yeah. So, I would have to say big ups to Kimu, man. There's something, I'm really inspired by artists that can stay really patient and really iterative and really controlled and contained. And yet that vision is so distinct and powerful. And, you know, talk about a tangent, but this really pertains. What's happened with me over 40 years of creating in all these different mediums and all these different forms, and, you know, all these different styles is maybe 15, 20 years ago, it would have looked like 10 different people were responsible for my first book, even though it was just one spastic nerd that didn't really know how to sleep and all he wanted to do was draw and smoke weed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Like, let's just smoke weed and tattoo and draw and bug out and produce and be as prolific as possible and like draw like Hendrix played the guitar. Let's try and rap like Q-Tip or Mos Def, you know, like let's tell stories like Biggie Smalls.
Yeah.
Well, let's blow people's minds like Kiss in the 70s, right? Like all these associations.
Yeah.
But my point is, it's taken me 50 years to look like one artist.
Yeah.
And that only happens with, you know, keeping your head down and moving forward and really truly aspiring to always evolve and always be that snowball that it has more and more crystal facets, right, to what's really happening in the work. I think I'm still sort of answering that person's question.
Yeah. I got it.
In some super extended, like triple overtime way.
That's cool.
But there you go. Yeah. I'm gonna say Kimu, man. I'm gonna say Kimu shit.
That's awesome. I have so of yours, I'll answer it quick, then we'll go on to the next. So
what do you think?
Actually, it's tough to choose because I mean I love all your works for different reasons, but man, the Willie Mays just grabs me. And I don't know, it's just it's something special to me about that card when I'm looking at like, and a lot of times like if I'm thinking
that was my favorite wordplay.
Yeah,
Willie Mays was my favorite wordplay.
Awesome. It's fun.
He's supposed to be the sun.
Nice.
Like the source of energy for the universe. He's that guy. Yeah.
No, I mean it's bananas. But like when I look at all the works like really small, I think is a really good thing because like I love looking at my works like tiny thumbnails next to each other and see what grabs my eye. And it's not even necessarily the one when I see it full scale that I would think it is, but like there's something about that card and the way that it scales and just the balance of it. I think it's gorgeous. So I think
Thank you so much, man.
Of course, man. I think I have to pick that as my favorite, but I mean the Jeter one is so cool, and I think that's probably a close second for me. In terms
I like your choice very much. Thank you.
Yeah, it's hard to choose. They're all gorgeous, but that one just does something for me that I can't really explain. And then overall, I would have to say the Ermsey Trout is the most impactful card on me.
Ermsey's fresh.
He's super fresh. And so when this whole project started, Topps is in New York. I don't know if they hit you up, but they hit me up and they said, hey, we could come to your studio and do an interview with you. Or maybe I suggested it. I don't remember. I might have invited them. But anyways, long story short, Topps team came to my studio, shot an interview, and they were filming, and I was painting my first card, which was Nolan Ryan. And I don't know, I hadn't seen any of the other artists' work. I didn't really know I don't even think at that point I knew which other artists were involved because it was pretty early, it was before the launch. And so I had a very what I would consider kind of safe or vanilla version of my Nolan Ryan card, just doing my thing, but still making it look pretty photorealistic, not really taking a lot of risks. And, this is by far the biggest brand collaboration I've ever done. And so I just wanted to give them what I thought that they were expecting based on my body of work that they had seen before and chosen me for the project. And so they came there And while they were there, before I even started painting, one of the guys Brandon was like, hey, would you like to see some of the other artists' work? And I said, of course. And the very first card, he pulled up his phone and he was scrolling through a little album. And the very first card was the Ermsey Trout. And I'm just like,
nice.
I'm like, oh no, I'm playing it too safe. Like these guys are so hard. And I'm over here just trying to, be normal. And these guys are doing something that's like really out there. So like literally because of that specific one card, I did paint, I painted the card Nolan with them in the studio. But like as soon as they left, even before they even left, I said, hey guys, now we have some video content, but I want to do this again. I'm going to go back to the drawing board. I want to like push myself a little bit more. I think I could do a better job. And I think I could like push the boundaries more. And it was literally that one card that made me feel that way. And I saw some other cards, but I mean, that one was just so cool. So I think if I have to pick an overall favorite of the set, it's that.
Well, what's interesting about Ermsey is I got turned on to his work through my homies have this brand called Mishka NYC going back natural. That's fresh. That's some really smart wordplay right there.
Oh yeah, it's
Mike
great.
Trout, Mike drop, microphone check. No,
Yeah,
Natural did Mike Trout. So cheeky and literal and dope.
Killed it.
Nice job, Natural. No, he's amazing. But so Ermsey had done some graphics in a little capsule collection with my homies Mishka, which is a Brooklyn-based brand. And I started following him, the advent of Instagram. I've been following him for a long time. I love what he does. It's really wild. It's really smart. It's like this super psychedelic deconstruction and this like in the moment animated version of all these cartoons and whatever pop culture imagery, whatever he does. I just think he's really rad, and I love what he's doing with the cards. That's the thing about curating a project like this is everyone has really unique approaches to the same 20 cards. It's really inspiring. It's really interesting, and I don't know, man. 400 cards. There's 10 more to go. Did you see, just incidentally? Did you see the translucent Pink Panther Uzi toy that Ermsey posted on his Instagram? It's something he's working on. It's going to be a product.
I've seen the translucent, the one where he's almost like the Pink Panther kind of stuck in a bag.
Yes,
is that kind of it?
But within the form of a clear Uzi.
Yeah,
it's just dope. It's interesting. I don't condone violence. I hate guns, but as imagery, I mean, I played with them. I loved lightsabers when I was a kid, but it's so dope. He's amazing, man. I think his stuff is super fresh. Yeah. And there's a real range. There's such a range in this project.
What I love about Ermsey, and I mean, I love a lot of things about Ermsey, but one of the things that really jumps out is like, just like yourself, you pick him, you see him in his art in a lineup, and there's literally there's zero chance of confusing him with another artist. That's that's Ermsey, that's JK5, and I want to be like that. And Grotesque has the same thing. That's Grotesque. Joshua Vitas has the same thing. A lot of these guys do. It's awesome and also scary to hear about how long you spent to figure out and get your style to be at that point. But like, I've been doing this full time for 5 years now. I quit a corporate job at age 30 to pursue art, and I love every minute of it.
Good for you, man.
Thanks, man.
Good for you. That's fantastic.
But yeah, like I picked up a spray can.
It's a brave move.
30 years old. Thanks, man. But I still feel like I'm comfortable in my own skin and love my own art, which I think is important. But I also understand that in the grand scheme of things, I'm a pretty young artist. In terms of my time spent with the brush or the can, and I'm doing my best.
For your own mind, your own experience in the world, of course.
Yeah. I'm doing my best to like paint as often as I can. Like I put in my 10,000 hours in 3 years. Because I knew that was like a threshold I had to hit, and like
Malcolm Gladwell, y'all, the man tells the truth.
Exactly, man. And so I knew that I was like, all right, I'm going to paint 8, 10, 12 hours a day for years, and not be focused on a lot of the other stuff like the marketing. Like now with this project, I spend a lot of time on the computer promoting and doing the business side of things. And now I'm lucky to have like starting to build a team, because I'm kind of trying to like mediate that a little bit and have like, I want to be spending my time either painting or signing things. I don't know. It's crazy, man. It's so awesome. Ermsy's work so recognizable. Yours is so recognizable, and it's just so cool and like I'm honored to like be in the same, pool.
That's nice to hear, man. Wonderful. I mean,
Thanks, man.
I love that you share that story. It's really cool that you felt like you were playing it safe. You were giving them what they thought they were getting as a Blake Jamieson portrait. And then the first thing you saw was just something really creative and playful. And you're like, this aspect is going to inspire me. I'm going to just see what I can do with my imagination in addition to how I paint, what I'm used to painting, how I approach things. And I think we all have this room to move and to really explore and to put as much time or energy as we want to. I mean, I'm home making this work most of the time since its inception, right? Nobody's going anywhere. Nobody's able to get together. There's no gathering. There's no live music. There's no live sports, this project is bringing people so much joy and purpose and structure and giving us, we're earning, and that just enables us to focus more on what we want to do. And it's cool, man. It's a really insular, I don't know. It's all like within 20 of us, there's just boop, 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 bing, bing, boop, 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 boop. You know what I mean? There's a lot of sound effects is what there is what I'm saying.
Yeah, tons of sound effects. I know. Yeah. It's awesome. Okay, it's funny. We only got through one question so far.
Let's go back to some questions. We've got 51 minutes deep. I have 16% left on my phone. It was getting a little bit underwater, intermittent, but it's still super clear, and I'm so glad it's improved so much. I hope we regained a lot more people.
I think it sounds great. Okay, so
we'll do it again, homie. We'll do it again.
Yes. So Patrick C asks about the Trout card and what kind of inspired the design of that card.
Well, Trout was pretty straightforward, pretty direct. I really wanted to just render the card. His eyes were in a position, he just took the swing. He's hoping it's going out of the park. There's this amazing thing that happens, and it's all about eye-hand coordination and that parallel as a visual artist or an athlete, which is a lot. Yes, I love Cyclops. Yes, I love X-Men. Yes, I'm portraying these athletes as demigods, and I'm a big mythology nerd. But there's very real correlation. And eye-hand coordination is such an important thing to nurture in your lifetime, whether you're an artist or an athlete, and all the parallels therein. There's no difference. So for me, it was like, render it, take the toning, the shadows, the shading, the cross-hatching to a whole new level, and encrypt information and patterns in that. Keep it really strong and graphic. I really love that there's some shots. It's all photography, right? And you're just freezing a moment. And there's Mariano that's like, whoa, 90s country club. What do you do with this? And then Trout is live, and it's an action shot. He's moving. It's blurred. So I wanted to, I don't know. I'm trying to stylize. I'm trying to stylize energy and add information and pattern into what would traditionally be just considered shading or tone or dimension or contouring, So Mike Trout for me was that exercise, and then the eyes were just perfect for the laser. And then if I can recall, there's most of that, the bottom half of that card is really dark, or it's in a value range of 5 to 10, right? On a scale of 1 to 10. So I liked encrypting all that subliminal subconscious imagery where angels, Aloy, my last name, MT, which is a riff on Albrecht Dürer, which is an old master printmaker that I love. That's a big inspiration. So, man, I really try and maximize the opportunity, the concept, and then it's my responsibility for every iota of that physical space and picture plane to entertain and inform and hopefully have you bug out a little bit as a viewer, as someone who's holding that card and experiencing it. And Mike Trout was really fun. And that started out black and white too. And then I'm like, oh no, this needs to be red. There needs to be red in there. It's the angels. So
feels exactly
a lot of
works.
a lot of the color decisions that I make are just based on the palette or the colorway of that team, and then that is a catalyst, and then from there, more color has happened symbolically and metaphorically. But Trout was just about an action graphic moment.
That's amazing. And also, fun fact from Eric, he says that picture on that original 2011 Topps card was actually taken during Mike Trout's first MLB at bat, which is
no way.
I mean, it's pretty rad. Like, obviously,
that's cool information.
Looks like he got a hit. I mean, who knows? It could have been a pop fly. We don't know.
Could have been a pop fly.
But
you never know. I love that information.
Pretty awesome if your first MLB at bat turns into a card that then becomes really like. I mean, that's a very iconic card as it is. Then there's the diamond. What is it called? There was like a diamond, like a kind of refractor version that they reprinted, and then now they're having artists do it. So like he's getting this first at bat moment just captured it from all these different perspectives. These artists now, it's just
and now reimagined by 20 different artists. Amazing.
Yeah, it's
that's a whole other level, man. If you want to do your homework just within Topps, just within the sort of statistical language of each player and what the card really means, there's so much there. You just make a decision. I do studies, I do thumbnails, and then I execute it. My first few, I started really small in my sketchbook, and then I'm like, oh no, I just kept developing topographically, and then I ended up keeping them small, and then they got bigger once I got to Mariano.
Yeah. But, okay. That was actually one question that I was thinking is like, what scale are you drawing at? Because I feel like I saw the Jeter, and I believe that was just a pencil sketch, and I think that was on roughly like an 8.5 by 11. Right.
9 by 12. Yep.
Okay. 9 by 12. Sure. Are you typically working in that size? Is it different from card to card?
I started 5 by 7 in my sketchbook with the first 3, and then I went 9 by 12 with Mariano. And for the most part, I've been working around those dimensions ever since.
Cool. It's awesome. Are you, do you have any plans of what you're going to do with all the finished, like actual original art pieces? Are you going to frame them and make them as like a cohesive set, or gift them to friends or family, or what's the plan?
I'm happy to say 3 cards deep, I sold all my originals to a collector in LA.
Wow.
Yeah. So before I knew anything about what this project was going to generate, financially or otherwise, as a divorced father with an 8 and 11-year-old, and I'm living in a very expensive city, and we're all making ends, and everybody lost their job, and all of that sort of tender reality information that varied for each of us, but we were all in the same boat. Wow. Basically, I got hit up, and it sounded like a good offer, and
so did you?
It happened really early on.
And so you pre-sold all the future ones, or just the ones that you had done so far?
No, all 20.
Wow, one person's gonna get them all and have a freaking museum. Oh, lucky dude.
Blake. That's a bigger conversation, man. He was a nice guy from LA. He was a big fan of artists in the project. He wanted to collect what he could. I think he made a few artists different offers, or maybe all the same. And I needed the bread, man. Child care is real.
Understand.
And that was it.
All good. I totally get it.
Yeah.
So I actually gave my first one away to someone that bought. I was actually tweeting to Gary Vaynerchuk, who I don't know if you know is a pretty prominent entrepreneur and investor, motivational speaker, and also card collector. And so I was collecting.
I've heard about him. I have a friend that works with him in whatever capacity. I'm not exactly sure, but he knows him well. He knows he's an important guy as a card collector, and he shared my work with him. I don't know what'll come of that, but that's cool, man. So that was your second card, or
I hit him up publicly on Twitter and just said, "Hey Gary, my first card drops on Topps. I know you collect cards. I would love if you pick some up. If you want to buy 100 of them, I'll give you the original art for free." And also keep in mind, like I kind of came in with the expectation that like 200 print run would be a low print run and 2,000 print run would be a high. Like for whatever reason, in my head, I was thinking 200 to 2,000. So for me, I thought 100. I'm like, man, that would be so cool if one person bought 100 cards. And, you know, I have to give them this art, but like, you know, I can't do anything else with it. So, you know, and Gary's Gary. And so I did that, and I didn't hear back from Gary, but I did hear back from this guy Kevin, who I don't know if he's on the stream right now, but you know, he and I are still very close. And he's like, "Hey, I saw your tweet to Gary. If he doesn't take you up on it, can I?" And again, I'm like, I thought selling 100 cards was going to like make a big difference in like my print run, and I'm like, all right, yeah, let's do it. And so I actually gave my first one away. And even though I still have to ship it, Kevin's been really cool and patient because I actually have the collection sitting together right now. But like that's his piece. But everything else, like as soon as I started seeing this traction and momentum, I'm the same way. Like, I mean, it's crazy. Before this project's like, are you plugging your phone in, keeping the party going? Is that what's happening?
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I just had I went and grabbed my charger, and I only have a jack for either my headphones or a charger. So I think the quality's still there. I just don't want to lose you with only 10% left, man.
No, it sounds good. It sounds good.
Good.
But yeah,
it's a little darker. I just had to move. I had to shift a little bit.
Yeah. So
continue, please.
So I met this dude. He's like, "Hey, well, if Gary doesn't buy 100, if I buy 100, can I have the original?" And I was like, "Okay, fine." And so that happened, and he bought 100, and you know, I promised him the original. And then I kind of saw this the potential of the project. I think pretty early. I started to see, you know, some other opportunities with the artist autograph cards, and you know, some of the other things that we could do with our platform. And so then I've had a ton of people be like, "Yo, can I buy the original? Can I buy?" Because I also do like a lot of times I'll actually design 2 or 3, and then I'll pick my favorite, or I'll let the internet pick their favorite, and that becomes the card. So I have like an extra Mike Trout. I have 2 extra Griffies. I have an extra Henderson. And I had an extra Nolan Ryan. So like I still have a complete collection of all my cards. He just gets the final. Anyways, so I feel your pain or understand, you know, where you're coming from of working with that collector. I hope that he does something to like share that with the world, and I would love to see all of the original art of all the artists kind of come together in some type of capacity in the future, and hopefully he's down for something like that.
Yeah, I'd love that too, man. And I can't. There's so much in the works on my end, and then I'm just with my series personally. But I have an amazing manager and team. That's all I can say is that all kinds of really interesting things are being sorted out right now for all of us, and we'll just see, man. Time will tell.
Yeah.
I personally think, and I love
a wild ride.
The format. Yeah, it sure is, man. I just want to see a beautiful book of this project, the Project 2020 Topps book. Process, portraits, a little interview, little, you know, just really beautiful hero shots of all of our pieces. It's extraordinary. It's going to be 400 original works. It's massive. And again, it's a really unique duration for a project like this, man. And
yeah, it's special.
The opportunity to engage an audience, to grow your audience, to sort of like really kind of corral everybody that goes to the website, you know, that buys the cards for 48 hours, and then the potential for each of us just to share our brand and the form our work can take in merchandise or product, or introducing them to our past work, other things that are happening concurrently. It's crazy, man. It's a really sweet spot. And I don't know. In the beginning, I was like, oh, cool. Topps. I've worked with Topps twice, in 2008 and 2010. One was Star Wars. One was just sort of an artist series. And my manager brought me this gig, and I was really stoked. But I had no idea that it was going to encompass this much. And like you said, it's just such a roller coaster, man. It's such a wild ride and really amazing one, indeed.
Yeah. I agree, man. So that's cool that you worked with Topps before. I didn't know that. And the Star Wars stuff. I actually think there were questions. I know we've only done a couple, but people were asking if you'd done baseball cards or worked with Topps in the past. So that's really cool to hear.
Yeah, I was a huge baseball card collector and Topps in general collector when I was a kid. And in 2008, I was brought a Topps project where I just had to choose different works of mine, and then there was some artist stats on the back, and it was like a limited edition artist series through Topps.
Yeah.
And then in 2010, I did 100 die-cut Darth Vader heads and 100 die-cut Stormtrooper heads that had the image on one side and, you know, the informational graphics on one side, and then the back was a canvas of sorts, and then you could just wild out, and that was a really awesome project. That's in my Rizzoli book that was published in 2014. If anybody's curious or interested, there's some really great shots of that Topps project.
Yeah.
But I was you know, stoked to work on it again. I had no idea. I mean, dude, when did this project come to us? Right before the actual quarantine, and like as COVID was entering our consciousness, as it, you know, from the inception in Wuhan? Was it like, I feel like it was mid-March was the first card or something?
Actually early April, I believe. Or
April, okay.
At least my card would actually, that's true. That's not true. My first card was in April, but my card number 18. So I do think it was actually late March, mid to late March that it launched.
Okay.
So yeah, right when stuff started going nuts, this project hit. And for me, I think that like I was so grateful to have an opportunity to like have a long-term art opportunity that would pay me some amount of money. And again, I was thinking 200,000 print run, and I'm like, yeah, but like that's great. You know, we're getting some royalties, and that's enough that like, you know, I can survive, because if without that, I don't know that I would have. And I sadly, like I have a lot of artist friends that have, and even people in this building and people in the sister studio that's owned by the same landlord have had to pack it up because it's tough. And I was so grateful, you know, to have that opportunity of being able to like know that I was at least like my rent would be paid. And now like what it's turned into is just like, it's changed my life, you know. It's insane.
Dude, I am so happy and honored and blessed to say ditto, motherfucker. Like,
yes,
it was a job. It was bread. I thought the initial fee was nominal, but I was grateful for it.
Totally.
I didn't have a job. I was tattooing part-time, and I've been living off commissions and interesting projects for the last couple of years. And I went through a divorce and a really profound personal transformation and transition that left me as a divorced father of 2 kids in a really expensive city with, you know, endless potential and heart, but what's going to click? What is really going to become something lucrative enough at this stage of my life and career where psychologically and artistically I've been kind of just disconnected and honestly just kind of just growing in other directions away from tattooing. I've been tattooing 25 years. It's a really long time.
Yeah.
I've been on quadruple duty trying to realize my work in the world, focused on my vision and how it manifests in the world for 30 years, you know?
Yeah.
And this project gave me, we know what it's given all of us, man, and we should all be so grateful. It's been an incredible blessing and bittersweet, and that dichotomy of we're all having this personal, like you said, life/game changing success that is just really calming and affirming, and so much about peace of mind for me in the world. And all I want to do is be able to just put it back into my own peace, my own joy of living, what my girl, my children and I can do, what my friends and I can do, and making extraordinary things for the world and being able to invest in that, you know? So what turned into, oh, sweet, I have a little job, maybe I can make some ends with this project, to I might not. This just changed everything due to a really shocking and unique conflation of factors. It's a really, really strange, amazing thing, man.
I know.
You know? And
yeah,
you know, it's like Yeah, go ahead. Oh,
Yeah.
just pause.
In terms of like all the factors, right, and everything that's kind of been this like perfect storm environment for the success of Project 2020 and the platform that we kind of built because of it.
Yes.
It's like COVID and the whole situation in the world is so sad and affected so many people negatively.
Mhm.
It's like, I don't know, man. It sucks, but like I feel like it's helped us, and I feel guilty for that. But it's grateful. You know?
No, it's very true, man. It's just the macro micro, right? Like on a macro scale, there's unprecedented pain and loss and death and grief, and it's such a pivotal time in history. We know that there's dual pandemics happening. There's COVID-19. There's systemic racism. There's police brutality. This is an opportunity for the human race to reset on a grand level. And on a micro scale, personally, some of the factors of the larger situation and putting it in a global context was really wonderful for these artists, because I think it comes down to compensation and the joy that it's bringing everybody, and everyone's home, and it's just really wild. And in retrospect, we'll look back on this and be like, I had a life-changing project during COVID-19, and here we are, you know?
Yeah, it's like it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, and it's so cool.
Crazy.
And I think now, like, some of the most rewarding parts are, you know, the kid that's being homeschooled is now like interested in the project and starts painting with their parents, or even like, you know.
Oh, dude, completely, man.
Yeah. Or the
12-year-olds hitting you up saying how much your work inspires them to draw, and the father and son vibes I'm getting, and you know, it's just really moving to have that demographic as an audience, and knowing and hearing. Also, man, like to be concise, I've been engaging with the world in my own personal direct way for a long time, but I have a wonderful manager who's a really special individual, and he just knew what to do internally. He just built this machinery for me. He's got an amazing team, and I've engaged with an audience, and I'm able to really interact in real time and create and share. I mean, there's so much that got dialed during this project for me, and you know, it's what I've been nurturing my whole life, but all the pieces came together, and now that Voltron is built, and we're introducing all my own merch and products and all my original work and vehicles for original work, and people are getting to know that I have 3 books published in the world, and I've been showing in galleries for a long time, and you and I, we should just jam on a series together, like
I would love that.
Tag teaming, however we want to create a visual discourse with. I don't know. There's so much possibilities. But like, yeah. I mean, so there's a scale of coalescence, right? And what this is encompassed. Yeah. And because we're all quarantined, there's all this time and space to really just have this fill up as much of our life and our time as possible. And we're focused on, you know, putting as much good energy and as much good positive creative energy into it as possible, because the fruits are manifesting all the time. And when the world can eventually become a place of you know, the engine of society and interaction and gathering and showing in galleries and traveling again, there's going to be so much in the pipe for all of us, man, and we're just, you know, we should all just be so grateful.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's special, and absolutely, you know, anytime I would love to collaborate with you on something. As soon as it's responsible, you know, you're welcome here anytime. I'm just up the road, or just across the bridge from you, which is awesome.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
I think like it's such good vibes, man, and I knew that from the first time we talked on the phone. that we get along, and I love it. And it's awesome.
Me too, man. Me too.
Yeah. What's your battery?
It's up to you how much longer you want to go.
No,
Maybe
I'm
another
down to
question.
roll, but
We can wrap it up. It's up to you.
I'm totally down to keep going. But how is your battery percent?
Sure.
Because since we've switched to battery to charger, we're getting a little bit of that kind of
I'm
gargly.
a little more static, but I'm only up to 10% now, and I'm just in a place where I have to stay a little closer to my outlet.
Okay, fair.
But I'm loving the flow.
Okay, let's see.
I'm charging as we speak. I put this a little more static.
Well, that's great. That's okay. Okay, so let's see. Somebody asked if you actively tattoo. We talked about that. Was the plan to go from black and white to color from the start, or that was a recent change of plans? We kind of talked about that. Mike Robo asked that question. What is your favorite tattoo? James Eugenia asked, what is your favorite tattoo?
On my own body, or that I've done on someone else? Did she specify?
They didn't specify, so I guess let's do one of each.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. I have on my hands as a mantra, on my left hand is the word internal, and on my right hand is the word homework, and that's something that's really important to me. So I've got a bunch of
Dude, I love that.
And, I mean, I'm covered, but
wow,
I have reminders all over me, you know.
Me too, man.
Nice.
Like, stay focused. That's my reminder.
That's good.
I love that. How
I like the mirror.
Else? How about one that you've done on somebody else?
Thousands since '94. I have a million stories I could share. Let me think. Actually, I just did this really simple Be Easy on my girl in our living room, like 2 months into quarantine, little home punk rock style.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that thing. It might be my last tattoo until something inspires me enough to really get back to it. But I love that little thing. I have to say, I got so known for decorative, distinct ornamental script styles and just creative, inventive approaches in general. And working with people's hopes, dreams, sentiments, favorite Joy Division quote, Kurt Vonnegut, entire stanzas that I have to compose as the front of the body or sleeve or something.
Mm-hmm.
I got to design and indelible, really interesting things for people's bodies for 25 years, man. And, you know, there's nothing remotely three-dimensional that I can't sort of flow on and ice skate on with a drawing tool, if you will, because of it. And, you know, I'm really grateful. I think tattooing I always knew that it would eventually kind of become super trendy and really influence and inspire the world as one of the finest art forms with some of the most visionary, interesting, distinct creators on the planet. It just took a long time. I mean, I started when it was just a 16th of the size it is now, with all the smarmy cliches and all the judgment and all the closed-minded kind of, you know, all that really shallow bullshit that kept it underground for a long time, if you will. But yeah, I don't, as you're finding out, dear audience, I have a really hard time answering a question specifically with any sort of succinctness. So I hope to the person that asked that question that
he's here. He says thanks. He did mean on you. He also was wondering if you've ever tattooed any celebrity.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, since I started, and I went to art school in the mid '90s. I was at RISD from '91 to '94, and I started meeting all kinds of really interesting people.
Yeah.
And their communities, and you know, I've tattooed a world of interesting people. Whether you consider them famous or not, that's really not up to me. But Heath Ledger and I were tight the last couple of years of his life. I tattooed him a couple times. He was a force of nature and a miracle. Ooh, that's bad. That's serious reverb. Did you hear that shit?
Well, I got a text message.
Oh, I was going to say that was Heath.
I think it was that.
What's up?
My friend Mac Attack has a big idea for me.
My favorite quote unquote celebrity, and he certainly was a massive celebrity to me because I was and I'm still a huge fan of the Beastie Boys.
Yep.
I tattooed Ad Rock out of his living room when he was living in Soho in 2003.
Nice.
And he tipped me really generously because he wanted to hook a brother up and he was in a position. And he made me 4 mixed CDs as a tip with amazing tracks and his handwriting on all the cases. And I was honored, man. I was hyperventilating, and he told me when I first set up and started that he was actually epileptic, and this is what I'd have to do if something went down while I was tattooing him. And what a story that would have been.
No way.
But the King Ad Rock, Adam Horowitz, 2003. That
your
would be
awesome.
an honor. Someone of
that.
My generation and such a huge hip hop fan, you know.
Yeah. Let's see here. I have a shop. Do you ever ink yourself? That was Krista M asked. Do you ever do it? Do you ever have you ever tattooed yourself?
Many times.
Yeah.
Many times. And actually, right before I did the Be Easy, like go easy, be easy, take it easy, girl, I did a little something to commemorate this most pivotal and bizarre chapter of our human history, and I just wrote, here, let me look at it. I can kind of show you. Okay. Let me see if I can turn it around.
Okay.
It's probably really dark. You see if I can get a tattooed leg, anybody?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
It's totally weird. It's hard to see. There it is. All right. So that's my leg.
Yeah.
To my inner left shin, where you can get a good angle on the line and a good grip, and it's good practice, and it doesn't hurt as much. And I did my second tattoo in '94 on myself, and then I've just done a bunch of random ones when either a homie passed away, or I needed a little sentiment, or I really just wanted to feel it and bleed and feel like I was alive or something, you know. When there was 3 feet of snow out and nobody was coming into the shop, or my appointment canceled or something, you know. So a couple months ago, I just did a 2019-20 and a Q to commemorate this time. So
yeah,
I'd have to be like 10 on it. So
yeah. So this is a good one. I saw this in the chat. Alexander Owens asked if you ever run across Cartoon before. So have you and Mr. Cartoon ever crossed paths in the tattoo world?
I love that question.
Yeah.
Mr. Cartoon is a huge inspiration.
That's
back
awesome.
to my origins in '94. We have the same manager, and I hear there will be some collaborative projects in the works.
Wow.
I don't know him personally. I've never met him. I've heard wonderful stories about how he is with people, not just Eminem and 50 Cent. And, you know, him and this other artist, BJ Betts, who's a Midwest brilliant script artist, who's sort of the godfather of letterform within the tattoo world and within that sort of stylistic range of topography and its cultural origins and influences. They're huge inspirations to me, man. I mean, tattooing is ultimately about sentiment and document, and words have always been a part ever since the inception. Once you got subjective and it went from actual, you know, when it evolved from design and mark making to a heart with a mom in the 30s and 40s, you had this marriage and this tango, if you will, of a word and an image. And as a Gemini, at my core, those have always really danced with me, man. If you look at my earliest drawings when I was 7, there's the icon, there's the logo, there's rendering Ace Frehley's signature, and then I'm really trying to draw that motherfucker when I'm 8, 9 years old. You know what I mean? So I share that history because tattooing and its full embracing of the word and the image and what iconography and heraldry really is you know, there's so much text-based history, and then you jump to like the 60s and the early 70s and gang culture and encoded, encrypted hand styles and street styles and graffiti, and the way you know those cultures and those people would really communicate with one another was through this really unique language, and it was a code, it was a vocabulary, and then you know the more decorative script evolved out of more basic, simple penmanship that they did a really beautiful job with. You know, they were so into penmanship, and that just evolved into these really decorative, ornamental styles, and then that was always a big part of what I was asked to do as a tattoo artist. And then when I moved to Brooklyn in 2003 and got with these other artists that were really known for more antique typography and ornamental styles, I brought in my love of sci-fi and, like I was saying earlier, the Elvis script that's on the Jeter card, and Tibetan Sanskrit, because it was about a meditation on the plight of the Tibetan people and the Chinese oppressors, and that's the font on the cover of my first book. And I sort of Englishified Sanskrit, and I started drawing it into the script and doing these vertical fonts. And so yeah, there's a really long answer to say I have a very close connection to Mr. Cartoon right now. I look forward to meeting him. I think some really amazing things could evolve out of a potential partnership.
I would love, knowing independently like each of your work.
He's a king of that.
I think that a collab would be amazing. I want to.
Joseph, how much juice do you have on your phone?
What's that?
Do you have a little more battery on your phone?
He wants you to put headphones in again.
Yes, that's exactly what I want. Yes.
He's asking if your phone is charged enough to put the headphones back in for a little bit.
Not really.
Not really.
Don't worry.
Okay. It's all good.
All good.
It's okay. It's all good.
I'm sorry. And I told you to step above a Luddite.
Yeah, the ones that you use.
The headphones.
I'm sorry?
I said I'm apologizing. I'm one step above a Luddite, and I have to choose between a charger and the. So I know it's not clear.
Don't worry. It's all good, dude. I don't care. And I think people are loving this too. Like, you know, it's so cool. It's just so like stream of consciousness, seeing where the conversation takes us, which is exactly what I hoped it would be when we chatted tonight. So I'm getting everything I want out of this conversation, and I think it sounds like everyone is talking this too. Put that there. Okay, so I have a separate, taking it in a totally different direction. Did you collect baseball cards as a kid, or do you now?
I don't anymore, but I was a really avid collector in the 70s and 80s. And what I really loved about Topps was there was all kinds of pop culture cards, man. And I still have boxes of those in storage that I always wanted to do something creative and collage-based with, or something interesting. But there were Jaws cards, there were Kiss cards. I had all the Star Wars cards. I had, Raiders of the Lost Ark cards, Charlie's Angels. There you go.
Teenage
I
Mutant
love that they
that's Topps right there.
All this intellectual property. That's dope.
So rad. I've got these ones are Topps. Some Power Rangers cards.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's I agree. I'm the same way, man. I collected as a kid, and then I kind of fell out of it for a while. I'm like back in it though.
Are you?
I'm hardcore back in it now, and I didn't know that the project would make me do that, but here I am. But I love it.
Collecting again.
Yeah, I am.
It's such a world.
It's such a world, man. It's also crazy. Like, it's such a generous world that with this project, I told people, I used to collect cards with my dad. It's been decades since I've collected any cards, and I'm thinking about getting back into it, but I don't know. And people just started sending me stuff to be like, hey, you shouldn't, get back into it. Here's a little something to kickstart. And I have a very, very cool current collection now. And I would say 75 to 80% of it is because of what other people have just generously gifted me. And like we'll continue. My team is always trying to send out gifts to other people as well. You know, I'll splatter paint on cards and send them out as kind of tiny pieces of art. And that's still, you know, we'll buy boxes. I'll buy boxes of cards and we'll open them all with the team and be excited when we feel fun cards. So that's exciting. But yeah, it's like the community has just embraced me and embraced everyone. Sorry, does this sound bad? Is it getting worse?
It's really gotten too staticky, man. I somehow only have 8% left. I'm trying to charge it and switch to the headphones, but sadly, that's a few times.
How about this, man? How about this? Let's get you back on the headphones, and then let's just run as long as it runs. And then that's like the universe is ready. You know, we could always try and do it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I want to end on
All
like,
right,
you know, we'd have some cool questions or conversation, and the headphones were dope.
Dude,
when you
it's
had those,
amazing. You know what? We should have a Blake and JK5 Strikes Back Part 2.
we absolutely will do that. Absolutely.
Part 2.
Part
Yes,
two.
hold on, let me switch to headphones. I've
Part
been talking
two.
an hour and a half. My girl's like, come up. Hold on.
I hear that, man.
All right, man. Is that better? Is that cool?
Oh my gosh. Oh my
Night
god.
and day, right?
Amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. So guys, we have 8%.
We have 8% left, folks.
Yeah, and we're just gonna run it until the 8 dies, or
We're gonna run out the clock.
yeah. That's great.
We're just passing the ball around, dude. Inbound plays.
Yeah. Well, I think yeah, man, collecting is fun. It's been really fun to get back into, and everyone is so, like I said, so generous, and I'm trying my best to keep up and, like, you know, pay it forward, but it's hard when there's so many people that are sending me such amazing things, and we're just it's a good spot to be in, man. It's lucky again.
Absolutely.
So,
Can I ask you a question, sir?
Yeah.
How did you get into painting athletic portraits, and how did that become its own cottage industry for you? I need to do a lot more homework, but
Yeah.
they're beautiful, man. They're amazing.
Thank you. Thanks,
You
man.
know Leonard Neiman, right?
Yeah. Yes. Leroy Neiman? Or
Leroy, sorry.
Leroy? Yeah.
Leonard Nimoy. I'm thinking of Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock.
Yeah, Spock. Yeah. Just confusing. Yeah, I do that all the time, kind of mixing two things. Yeah. So
It's funny. Leroy Neiman, you know what I'm saying.
So Leroy Neiman is a big inspiration, and just recently, one of the fans from YouTube literally mailed. It's a print of, you know, one of his works, but it's actually signed by him, and not just these.
That's
Hey,
dope.
thank you so much. Here's a print. I know that you like.
That's so
Leroy Neiman.
generous.
I didn't have any, so that was wild.
That's rad.
Yeah.
I grew up with a pencil signed print of Kareem and 3 other players. It's abstracted. There's all this energy and motion. There's a lot of impasto. It's really kind of thickly painted. There's a lot of golds. It's really warm and palette. Awesome NBA Leroy Neiman from the 70s signed, and I just always loved it. Yeah. Because my dad was a big sports fan, so we had some random interesting stuff like that around, in addition to his collections, which were like super exhaustive and thorough and pretty crazy. But yeah,
I love that. Yeah, so the sports world kind of found me, to be honest. It was just
cool.
The right place at the right time. So, you know, I worked as a digital marketer for almost a decade after college. I didn't study art. I studied economics, and then I went into digital marketing. Did that until the age of 30. And so the one thing that I have is I didn't have the technical knowledge, and I didn't have, you know, I'd been drawing as a kid for fun for a very, very long time, but I had never practiced as a career or like in a full-time capacity. So I didn't have that part, but I did have this like kind of marketing mindset from a ton of time spent in digital marketing all types of products and brands. And so I knew as soon as I decided that art is what I wanted to do full time, I was looking at it from a business point of view of saying, I know that I need to have a focus. I can't just say I do art for everyone or, you know, or whatever. I need to like focus on a thing. And so pretty soon, like once I kind of dialed in and got my style, was kind of getting my style working and more comfortable like selling and promoting my art, I started out saying that I would do art for offices. And it was really because that was the world that I was in, where I was used to working in digital marketing agencies, PR firms, or tech companies. Those were my people. And so I just wanted to market to the people that I knew. So I was like, okay, I do art for offices. And so I spent I don't know, a year and a half or something, kind of focused on that. And it was going really well. And I was starting to become like, I don't know, one of the guy in that space. And I was in Las Vegas.
That's a nice lane to carve out, man.
It's a great lane. And it was also nice because I was thinking about like, and this is something that went into the marketing side of it, is like, well, if people are not making an emotional purchase, like they literally have like a budget from their company to be like, I have a $20,000 budget for art for the office. Like it's a little bit less pushy, like salesy. I don't know, it just felt good. So that worked for a while. And I was in Las Vegas and I was delivering art to one client, and a mutual friend was there as well. He invited me to this concert, Imagine Dragons concert, and introduced me to this guy named Jared Faison, who is a ex-NFL player, current NFL manager. And he and I just kind of hit it off right out of the gate, talked about what we did. I showed him my work. He was a huge fan. And he said, hey, man, I think that my clients and really the whole NFL would love this work. Why don't you do a few of my clients for free? I'm going to have them promote it and kind of push your work to their teammates and on social media. And if you do these 3 paintings for free, I think that it's going to help you sell some work. And, I've always been one to say yes to opportunities. And so I said yes. And I did those 3 paintings. And it was like immediately, like the first guy, CJ Anderson, like the following week bought a big painting for like full price. The other guy, Jaleel Adai, gave him the painting. And all these guys, like I was able to deliver it in person, get a photo with them to kind of establish some credibility.
That's amazing, man.
It was like bam, 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 portrait for like athletes that were, known. And they promoted my work. They introduced me to their teammates. Their teammates started buying it. And it was so quick where like I went on LinkedIn and I changed my profile from like, it used to say like, I paint dope art for offices or something. And then I changed it to, I paint professional athletes, and just kind of ran with it and changed my whole focus, because I think
it's a very specific genre.
It is, man, but it's such a good.
It's a great story, man. Exponential dividends from just doing those 3 and having faith. And I'm sure the word just spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens when you're doing the right thing.
Thanks, man. It's crazy.
That's awesome.
Now, like also looking at an athlete as a client, I'm like, okay, they have the disposable income to buy things like art, which is a luxury good. They have dope reference images online. There's literally hundreds or thousands of photographs of them doing these impossible feats that most people can't do, that they want to immortalize forever. And the reference photos are already there. And then also like the kind of icing on the cake is they're just so competitive. So by nature, one guy gets 1 painting, the next guy wants 2 paintings, or the next guy wants a bigger painting. And it's just like it's snowballed, and it's just it's a sweet spot.
That's crazy.
And so the top.
Good for you, man. Let's talk more about that privately.
We will. We definitely will.
No, I mean that's just, my wheels are spinning a mile a minute. That's really exciting. I'm given 20 Topps cards, right?
Yep.
But imagine it's like when you're given something that is so, you're relegated, you're contained by it, it's specific, and you're just translating and interpreting. That in itself is such a full-time job, and you could put so much energy and so much creative and conceptual and technical thought into that. And I spent 70 hours on it. It's 32 inches by 40 inches, and it was my manager's close friend that he grew up with. His son's turning 14. This was back around Christmas time. And he commissioned me to do this birthday present narrative maze concept where I had to tell the story of his coming of age through video game characters from the time he was a little boy into his 14th year. I'll send you videos and pictures, man. It was one of the most challenging, labor-intensive things I've ever had to do. I executed it within 10 days or so. It's been on my brain for 4 months. I got so consumed with this Topps gig. I put it off because conceptually it was really daunting. I finally dove in and did this one insanely messy thumbnail, ridiculously layered sketch that like etched the on next 10 pages underneath, you know what I mean? Like, and I used a really old school overhead projector, which is wonderful. I love it. That's all I need to work larger and to scale things. And I did it over the course of 10 days. And just that, the idea of a personalized laundry list of things that a human, or, you know, whatever the demo, right? Like things that a 14-year-old boy is really into as a present, done in a way that is distinct and unique to my heart, my sensibilities. Like I could have 20 new commissions right now. You know what I mean? It's really, it's really interesting how you build it. They will come. And if it's, I'm stoked to show you. To show you.
That's amazing. Hey, so my dad asked.
I have 2% left. Oh, your dad asking a question. We got to get this in.
So my
Mr.
dad,
Jamieson.
So his name's Patrick. Mr. Jamieson.
Hi, Patrick.
So he says the cat behind you looks familiar. Where have I seen it?
Oh my God, hilarious. Let me show you.
Yeah.
This is one of our favorite frame drawings, and it's my girlfriend's really close friend Nolan, who evolved into a really amazing painter.
Nice.
It's a cat that he drew when he was a kid.
That's amazing.
That's it. It might look a little like the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland.
Kind of got some Cheshire vibe.
You know, maybe that's what Patrick is thinking.
I get that. I get a little bit of Where the Wild Things Are.
Oh yeah, there you go. Sendak. Sendak. Gotta love him.
Yeah.
There it is. There it is, Patrick. Close up.
That's awesome.
Coming at you. There it goes.
So cool. That's dope.
I love that your dad chimed in.
Yeah. No, I love it too. You
have a hell of a boy there, my friend.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Should we squeeze one more question in before Joseph's phone dies?
Okay, what's your pick?
Let's do it.
Star Wars and Boba Fett.
From both.
Oh my God,
Brian Abbott.
Thanks for a question with 2% left that I could talk about until Concord dawn.
At least an hour.
That is how much I love Boba Fett and Star Wars. I just said I could talk about Star Wars and Boba Fett till Concord dawn. Who out there knows what Concord dawn is?
I don't.
If you do, then you're just as much of a nerd as me. Concord Dawn is apparently the planet of Boba Fett's origin.
Okay.
Boba Fett, I've always had a serious fetish for since Empire Strikes Back. We know he had the lamest demise. We know he had the dopest costume. We know he had the freshest visage of any character in any movie ever. We know it's inspired by a medieval knight's helmet. We know that he was sworn to fun, loyal to none. We know that his armor was one big, faceted weapon. We know that Slave One was one of the dopest ships that moved and took off and traveled through the universe in a really unique way.
Yep.
Star Wars was a parallel religion for me, man. I was 7. My eyeballs were 7. I've got 1% left. It was 1977. I was 7. And the code of the Jedi Knight became that of my own as a visual artist. Blake, audience, YouTube, humans, Earthlings, peace out. Thank you so much. This has been wonderful. I really want to do it again soon.
We're going.
Blake, thank you so much.
Dude, thank you.
It's been an honor. It's been such a wonderful vibe, dude.
Yeah.
And
we're gonna
whatever more percentage I'd have, we'd probably be able to fill that up, no problem. So
we're gonna talk about Boba Fett later on the next one, because Boba Fett was the very first thing that I ever did in street art. I literally did a Boba Fett. I put it on a record, and then I glued that record up all over Barcelona.
Awesome.
I had a few of them. Anyways,
that rules.
Dude, thank you so much for everything. Everybody else, get the Derek Jeter card tonight ASAP. Man, it's been a blast. We're going to do it again very soon, but thank you guys so much. And don't forget to
Thank you so much, Blake. Dude, it's been such a pleasure, man. I look forward to next time. Thank you.
Hell yeah. See you later, Joseph. Have a good night.
He's no good to me. Dead.
Stay awesome.
You too, brother.
Yeah.
Peace.